I'm Sean.
And we're back. Today we'll be talking about seasonal defective... Nope, that's not what that word is. Today we'll be talking about seasonal affective disorder.
Also known as...
S.A.D.
Okay, Summer, would you like to give us an overview of S.A.D?
Sure. So, seasonal affective disorder, also known as S.A.D, is a type of depression that's related to changes in seasons. For most people, it's around fall and winter, so it begins in late fall and goes through winter. For others, it starts in late spring and goes throughout the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I experience S.A.D in fall and winter, and Sean?
In summer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Some symptoms may include feeling depressed most of the day, every day, losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, having low energy, having problems with sleeping, experiencing changes in your appetite or weight, feeling sluggish or agitated, having difficulty concentrating, feeling hopeless, worthy, or guilty, and having frequent thoughts of death or suicide. Which these are pretty classic symptoms also of depression.
Yeah.
But yeah, seasonal affective disorder, I think is much more common than people think it is.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And I think, like, especially if you're not aware of it and you're not too sure why your mood has shifted, especially when the season changes, even when the weather changes and you're not too sure why, it's like us talking about Blue Monday the other week and how, you know, that winter month can really take a toll on you mentally. And so it's not surprising that when we hit fall and winter and the sun is completely gone, that people start to feel really down.
Yeah. I will say this year, I don't think it's affected me as much, but I remember telling you a couple weeks ago that I'm like, I can feel it coming.
Yeah, you did say.
Like, oh, no!
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have known that I've had seasonal affective disorder since the beginning of college.
Okay, yeah.
I might have had it longer than that, but that's as long as I've been aware of it. What about you?
I wasn't really aware of it. I think because I kind of discovered my depression quite late, and so thinking about S.A.D as well was just another layer that I discovered late as well, because I suffer from insomnia, but I suffer from middle insomnia, so it's when you wake up in the middle of the night, exactly at the same time every night for... It can last like months, or it can last a short period of time. And for me, it starts at the end of spring, but majority of it happens during the summer months.
It's very interesting. I remember when I was little, my mom would talk about the humdrums in like the fall and winter. Okay. Which you can have, it's like the blues, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like S.A.D, seasonal affective disorder, just takes that a step further.
100%. Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes, I just get the humdrums, I just get the blues, and I'm just feeling sad and a little off. It's like those times when you want to listen to sad music and stare at the window and cry. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But with S.A.D, I can really... It's really weird because I can feel it start to creep. Like as the weather changes, as it gets colder, as all the leaves are falling. Which is weird because fall is my favorite season.
Yeah, your favorite season.
Also, I love the colder weather. Not what it's like now. It's too cold.
Yeah.
But like
that
cool.
mild. Yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe like 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know what that is in Celsius.
I don't know what Fahrenheit... I don't know what Fahrenheit is, to be honest.
But yeah, that temperature is probably peak, but that's also when the S.A.D kicks in.
Yeah. I remember one instance of seeing like someone coping with S.A.D. It was my friend that I lived with, and she actually had a light box in her room during autumn and winter actually, and I was quite surprised, but also glad because they have things like that in place for you to use.
Right.
I don't know so much about summer.
So I mean, it talks about causes of it are partly because of your biological clock, the reduced level of sunlight in fall and winter, which is why a light box is really helpful. But I wonder what it is for summer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No idea.
It also talks about serotonin, which also is a big deal in
Yeah.
depression. And reduced sunlight can cause a drop in serotonin that can trigger depression.
Oh, wow.
And melatonin. And the change in the season can disrupt the balance of the body's level of melatonin.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's interesting.
Around this time as well, around the summer season, is when I experience most of my migraines. I suffer from migraines. So that's when the humidity changes, the air changes, the air pressure changes. So this is when I'm experiencing migraines, I'm experiencing insomnia, and I'm anxious about getting the migraines.
Right.
I'm anxious about feeling sick, as well as trying to deal with the heat, which I don't cope with very well. And so I think I thrive in the fall and the winter because there's no heat, the air is different, so my migraines aren't as frequent, and I'm actually less anxious because, I don't know, I think my mind is focused on other things, like I mentioned, birthday, Christmas, and things like that. And if you think about the way the academic year works, when we go to college and university, the summer period, you finish in May and you go back to school in September. You have this whole time, and if you don't work and you haven't got activities in place, that is when I always felt the worst.
Yeah. But I think it also makes sense with all of your factors, migraines, humidity, pressure, and that you don't like the heat.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would get it then.
Yeah. What about you? What are some of the symptoms that you...
In the fall, the classic symptoms, honestly, I get moody, I get sad. That's what it's called, but I do. I just kind of feel off kilter. Like, I don't feel like myself.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to be pleased. That sounds weird.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Even movies that I love, like, clearly I love movies. I've talked about it every video. But maybe I'll go to watch Pride and Prejudice. I'm like, no, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's one of the hardest things. It's like, because I know I love these things, so it's really hard for me.
When you can't enjoy them.
Yeah. Honestly, when I first came to Korea, I feel like a lot of things were coupled. You know, I had SAD. I moved across the country. I had no friends. I was like, what the heck am I doing here? And so that was rough. Real rough.
Of course.
But I got out of it. But I think other ways that she talked about the light box. I think in Texas I didn't think about that, but I think that would still be very beneficial. Even though we do get a lot of sunlight in Texas, but especially in the fall and winter months, that would be beneficial. And I'm hoping to move to somewhere with less consistent sunlight.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that is something I would invest in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I also try to be intentional with friendships, but that's really hard.
It's difficult when you're feeling low.
I would like to be like, hey, let's go get coffee. I just need to talk to somebody. But it's really hard to pull yourself out of that mindset and to actually reach out to someone because it's it, you're feeling worthless, guilty, all of these things. And so it's hard to be like, oh, I've ignored them because I feel like crap.
So now I'm guilty. Yeah.
So now I'm guilty, but then I do need to reach out, but I feel bad, and it's just a whole
It's a
mess.
cycle, yeah.
But maybe I think that was one thing I was dreading coming to Korea is I didn't already have built-in friendships here. And so that lack of community scared me. And thankfully I did find some friends that, like Sean here, that understood, and I was able to be, and am able to say, hey, I'm not doing so hot. I mean, we talked about that in the resolutions video, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That, like, I was really bad about it, and I really am. Even if you ask my friends back home, like, they'll be like, no, Summer, come on.
Yeah, seriously.
But it comes from those feelings of being a burden, which I think is really linked with the SAD and depression.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's like, no, I know I'm not going to be the happiest person to be around.
So there's no point in me going and reaching out to them.
Yeah, but if you do have a good safety system, a good group of friends that can understand.
And are patient with you.
And are patient, yeah. Just be like, I just need you to be here while we watch a movie or play games or
they just come over with a light box and plug it in. And
there you go.
Just like, nope, I'm going to see you today.
That could work.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, but I just feel like that's my dryer going off, sorry. I can clearly, especially my senior year, I think that was the worst I've ever experienced SAD. There was a couple of social things that also threw me off kilter with friends coming and going.
Yeah.
That didn't help, but yeah, that was probably the worst. And I don't think I came out of it until May or June.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it was a rough time for me.
That is it's really surprising. For me it was the complete opposite. But my freshman year, and so the end of the freshman year, like the first year of uni, and we had that first summer break, and I guess most people, they feel anxious about going back and if uni was the right choice for them. So coupled with SAD happening during this time, I had a lot of thoughts about death and was had a lot of thoughts about death and was quite suicidal at this point in time. But then my mood started to change at the end of the year. That's when I started to feel a bit more secure in myself and was able to readjust, and so it's quite... I think this is just proving that depression and just mental health on a whole, it's just a massive spectrum.
Yeah. It manifests so differently in different people.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Night and day here.
Yeah. So...
yeah. I mean, I will say I can still prone to depression in the summer. I feel like the first real bout of depression that I clearly knew what it was the summer after my freshman year.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's rough and feels like it can last forever, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
So there are some ways of kind of recognizing it, like some of the things that Summer just spoke about and found on the page. Just like when even the weather changing can really affect you. Like people laugh, that like we have a lot of rain in London, but that really can affect you a lot. So just being prepared, and as silly as it is to check the weather to make sure like things that you can put in place that you might need, like get out that light box for that day or something like that, that can really make a difference for you.
There's a YouTuber that I watch. She suffers from SAD also, and she has a light box, and every morning while she's doing her makeup she'll have the light box on. So you're being productive and you're still getting in that light that you so desperately crave.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is good. Yeah, I mean, so I just try and be intentional about life, which is really hard, and we'll invest in a light box. And Sean here,
I'm going to actually do some research about that, because I think this year was a little bit rough, but I chose to ignore it, which is not good. And you can do those things because you're abroad and you're like, I'm not going to deal with this now because I'm over here. And so I've never really sat down and said, oh, okay, I have SAD during this time. What can I do to either reduce this or cope with it? And also be prepared for it. And so I think that's my homework for after this, is to actually research some of the things that I can do. Because really when my insomnia comes, I just let it run its course, really, which sounds horrible, but sometimes there isn't anything I can do with the insomnia. But in terms of the mood, there are probably things that I can do. Yeah.
I get real moody.
Yeah, I get really...
I'm like an angsty teenager.
Yeah, I get really irritated, short-tempered. Yeah, I don't particularly like myself, during that time. Yeah.
All the info that I spoke about I got from the Mayo Clinic website, which I'll put in the description box. But yeah, just seek out some more information for yourself, but hopefully they're good sites.
Yeah, please check.
Hopefully this has been helpful, if anything, just to tell you about SAD, or maybe something we said can help.
And if you also experience SAD during late spring and summer and you have some tips for me, that would be great. You can drop a message down below or via Instagram.
Or any tips, honestly, I would so be
For
welcoming
anything.
to those because most of the time I just tough it out, which is probably not the best.
Which is not the best, yeah. So, please.
Yeah, please let us know tips, tricks, anything that you do, or just what you thought about our video. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, bye guys.
Bye-bye.